Hi, this is Dan for Tech Digest and Shiny Shiny, and I'm here today with the Hewlett Packard iPAQ voice messenger phone. Now, the HP iPAQs are basically in the same fold as the infamous Blackberries. Of course, they don't want us to mention that, I'm sure, but that's what they are nonetheless. They're essentially aimed at the prosumer rather than the consumer or the professional, so somewhere in between. It's a horrible ad phrase, I know, but that's the way it works. So you're looking at using emails as well as text and all sorts, of course, and your phone calls as well. It's actually a really nice, first of all, smart looking device. It's a really nice shade of navy blue with a slight kind of sparkle to it as well. It'll go rather nicely with Acer Aspire 1 sapphire colour, if you happen to have one of those. It's got your classic, it's rather like the BlackBerry Pearl, this one. You've got the sort of 20 key keypad here with the QWERTY across it, with a slight wave to it. I don't know if you can see that. When you actually touch it, it feels quite nice. You get a bit of a wave to it, going like that. As well as that, you've got soft keys here and here, as well as these ones are push soft keys, but you've actually got touch-sensitive soft keys here and here, plus one up here as well that takes you straight to your messaging, which is probably the most important part of this phone. You've also got a lock button on the side, which is really good. It's a direct lock rather than have to fiddle around with one of those combination things like on most phones. So you press that, hold it down for a while, you go straight to a lock, which is quite useful. Volume control here, as I say, you've got the other soft key here. Your jacks are on this side. Now you haven't got a 3.5mm, but you've got 2.5mm, which it's not exactly standard, but it's standard, slightly unstandard, if you see what I mean. You've got a micro USB as well here, which is great, which is actually how the phone charges as well, because it's got like the micro USB here into a proper USB at the other end, which goes into the charger, so that's pretty good. You can charge from the computer or from the wall as well. And of course you've got your camera button down here, because no prosumer phone would be complete without a decent camera on it these days, which is now a 3.1 megapixel camera with an LED flash. And I've got to say, actually, for this kind of market, it's not a bad camera at all. You've got things like, you've got 5x digital zoom, you've got a sharpness control, you've got a flicker control on it, which is quite nice actually. And for me, one of my favourite things on any kind of phone is a white balance, so you really get what you're looking at quite properly, which is good. All your photos will, of course, and everything else will be displayed on the 2.4-inch QVGA screen here, which is actually quite nice and crisp too. On the inside, the whole thing works on Windows Mobile 6.1, and I've got to say, it's the first time I've ever used Windows Mobile and it's fitted just right on the device. It really sits nicely on this thing. I'm impressed. It's really quite usable. It's got AGPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, HSD and UPA as well. It's quad band, although it's only 2G in the quad band zones. Now, of course, the USB here means also not only can you charge it by USB, you can use it as a mobile dongle as well, so you can get mobile broadband off this, which is really, really good. The whole thing only weighs 107 grams, which is just enough to make you feel like you've got something expensive, but not too light or too heavy so that it feels like a real weight in your pocket. It's a pretty good size all in all. Memory-wise, you're looking at 128 megabytes internal memory, but obviously that's fairly irrelevant these days because it's expandable up to 8 gigabytes, which is great. It's available from the middle of November. There's only one thing, as far as I'm concerned, that's wrong with it. Now, obviously I say it's like the BlackBerry Pearl. The problem is it doesn't have the Pearl in the middle. Instead, it's got this 5-way optical trackpad, which is a sort of touchpad, obviously, of being optical. And the problem is it's really, really hard to control. It took me a long time to get to grips with it, and even now I have to be quite delicate with it, particularly moving from side to side. You've really got to position your thumb over it carefully. Now, maybe that's something I get used to through more using, maybe not. You know, you'd probably just about get a handle on it, but do you want to? So I'd give it a good try before you actually buy this thing. Actually hold it in the flesh and give it a go and you'll see what I mean. If you do want it, like I say, it's out later in November. Without a contract, it's £333, but likely it'll be with a contract, and that'll be with Vodafone. So there you go.